he was just very instrumental in getting it started and making it what it is today. And without further ado, Mr. Rhodes.
Thank you, Brian. Brian wanted me to give a few remarks about the pre-opening process before we got the bank started. I told him I have several things to say, and I promise I won't be up here longer than 30 minutes. Just kidding. Don't leave. The history of the bank really started back in January of 2001 when BB&T announced that they were buying F&M Bank, the old state bank of the Alleghenies. At that time, a number of local business people, led by Bill Withrow, got together and began meeting to discuss the possibility of a new hometown bank. In April of 2001, there were 27 organizers. They contributed $20,000 each to file the corporation papers to form a new bank. These 27 organizers invested with blind faith. If the bank was successful, they would go on to receive 2,000 shares at $10 a share stock. If the bank was not successful in raising the capital and selling the stock and getting regulatory approval, these 27 people, their $20,000 was at risk. So we certainly appreciate them, and at this time, I'm going to read as quickly as I can the name of the organizers: Steve Bowers, Nancy Caperton, Sandy Cook, David Crawford, Bill Dressler Jr., Rob Drury, Jimmy Garcia, Carol Gibson, Don Grimes, Ed Hemp, Guy K.O. Johnson, Butch Kemper, Nick Moga, Leo McCahey, Nick Nickel, David Oliver, Jimmy Oliver, Dewey Perkins, Ed Rickett, Jim Sizemore, Chip Sneed, Eric Walton, and Bill Withrow. I was hired by the bank in July of 2001. The stock sale began at the end of that month with a December 31st deadline. The State Corporation Commission required us to raise $7 million in capital, $7 million with a $10 a share stock sales. The stock sale really took off. We appreciate the support of all of our investors. We were off to a great start. People were really excited. August came and Meade announced that they were buying Westvaco. Some uncertainty there whether I'll still have a job or not. The 9/11 terrorist attacks, the fear, the uncertainty, the stock market tanked, and in November, the union contract was coming up for Westvaco, whether to accept that contract or strike. So we certainly had some little blips on the radar, but we got through that. We had wonderful help throughout. Ann Gilbert, daughter of Sally and Jan Gilbert, Amy Vest Kreiser, Greg and Kathy Vest's daughter, they were seniors in high school, but they would come in and work in our office after they got out of school. They were a tremendous help. Nick Moga, Gwen Withrow, they did computer work and payroll and so forth. Rob Drury, Wayne Barksdale, Richard Clatterball, they came in and worked numerous hours in the office helping us sell the stock. They would make contacts with their friends and associates, and they did this all with no compensation whatsoever. So we really appreciate that. Many of the organizers worked diligently to try to help us sell the stock. One I'd like to point out, I don't know if she's here tonight, is Carol Gibson. Carol was running the service station up there on Monroe Street at that time, and she would absolutely not take no for an answer. So we appreciate Carol's efforts along with everybody else's. We were getting close to the December 31st deadline, so according to the office offering circular, we were able to get an extension into February the 28th to raise the capital. We had not met, at the end of the year, we had not met the $7 million guideline. We were granted an extension to February 28th. And at that time, we had forums, open houses. We were open late. We served a lot of my wife Melody's food, cupcakes and cakes, so I appreciate that, Melody. And she did a lot of work in the office. We went for an advertising campaign. This is your last chance to ever have a hometown bank. On February the 28th, the stock sale ended, and we made our goal. We raised some $7.25 million with 1,300 and some investors. So organizers, board of directors, investors, community, we couldn't have done it without you. We'd never got the doors open, so thank you. After we sold the stock, then we had to turn around and file 3 regulatory applications with the Bureau of Financial Institutions, the State Corporation Commission, the Federal Reserve Bank, and FDIC. Each one was as thick as a big novel with pro formers, policies, and so forth, and make sure all the I's are dotted and T's are crossed. At that time, we selected the original 11 directors and submitted their names to the regulators. They were Rob Jury, Carol Gibson, Butch Kemper, Nick Moga, Jimmy Oliver, Bill Withrow, Wayne Barksdale, John Joe Williams, and myself. They vetted all of us, come up and interviewed us individually, went out in the community and asked people like Janie and Monty Crawford, was HC Rhodes a good guy? You think he'd be a good banker? And of course they gave me glowing reviews. We came back after we got the regulatory approval. We'd been in Atlanta for some computer training, and we came back. We opened in the parking lot over on Thacker Street, where the ATM is now. We leased a single-wide banking unit from Mr. Massey, and he called it one peach of a unit. Well, it was quite the rotten peach, but anyway, we also leased another single-wide trailer, and with the help of Steve Sams and his crew, K.O. Johnson, they converted those 2 units, put them together, and we had what we refer to as a bank in the box, and we were open. Melody, once again, she helped hang many lines and balances and pictures, and all the staff. We had original 10 folks that came on board as original employees. We got the state approval, the Federal Reserve approval, just like that. FDIC had 120 days to approve our application. They took the full 120 days to September the 13th of 2001 to get the final approval. We opened the doors on September the 16th, and trust me, I told the guy from FDIC we were opening with or without him, and we got it open. One side note, I didn't know this, and Butch Kemper just told me that he was actually the organizer that came up with the name of Highlands Community Bank. And Butch, I think you did a great job, and it's great to see you and Lana here tonight. Appreciate everything. I appreciate all the directors, the officers, the organizers, the staff, and mostly the community for believing in us, believing in the need for a hometown bank, and supporting us with your investment. And hopefully you've certainly been happy with it. We're glad you're here tonight. And I'm going to turn it over to Bryan now. Thank you.
Thank y'all for coming out. I hope everyone's having a great time. Tournaments are finishing up here in the next couple hours or hour. And there's food. You can get a free icy by liking us on Facebook. Kids, please draw. You have a chance to win $100 in a piggy bank. You'll at least get $1. And then I hope everybody's able to stay and enjoy the fireworks that with Ray King tonight. So thank you for coming out, and thanks again for supporting our bank for the last 20 years. We really appreciate it. Thank you.